Okay. We are live there. Okay. We're not live there yet. We're live there. Oops. Are we live here? No.
Right.
Hold on. Oh, there it is. There it is. And then I need to make sure that that is public. Public. Save.
One of the funny things about the heat stroke, heat wave that's going on here in Asia right now, we're here in the Philippines, the one that I'm experiencing in our house.
Yeah.
Turn on the AC
Okay.
and thank God for AC. Otherwise, I don't know how we're going to live.
I'll tell
Just
her.
look at the what are you talking about? AC? No, no, no.
Never mind.
Think air conditioning, not AC, your wife. Um, what am I trying to say? Basta buti na lang there's AC, buti na lang there's air conditioning, and
Oh,
our electric bill will skyrocket at the end of the month. No, it's just so strange that the AC it's so hot, right?
right.
AC turns on, air conditioning turns on. So I'm sitting down here, it's cold, and then when I stand up, I literally feel the heat like above my head. And then if
Really?
I want to get cold again, I just sit back down. And if I want to get warm,
Oh, because heat rises.
yeah.
Yeah,
As
it's
in, I
always
could
like that.
literally feel,
Yeah,
well, in scuba diving, there's this thing they call a thermocline,
yeah.
where like hot water is on a certain level. And then when you keep diving down, it's like diving into another body of water. It's so cold.
Right, right,
And then you
right.
can come out of it and then it could be warm. That's how big
That's
the
what I'm
difference
complaining
is
about here in
between.
my house. I don't know if you remember the conversation last year where
Oh,
in my house during the summertime it's freaking freezing, like a an ice, like a refrigerator down here. But when you go
mm,
upstairs, it's hot like balls. Sorry. So
yun, di
it's
ba?
just too
Whenever
much,
you
not
say
too
that,
much.
whenever you say that, it reminds me of that scene in Chef. Have you seen that movie on Netflix?
Yeah,
Where the guy and his son are like on this road trip on the
right. A
food
food
truck,
truck,
and then they use, I've never tried that, but they used what is it, baking powder or
baking
baking
powder.
soda?
Yeah, yeah, baking powder. You throw it. The water.
I could
Oh,
totally relate. I know exactly what that's all about, but yun nga. Okay, so speaking of which, today we'll talk about the deeply emotional vlog that I just watched. Well, you watched. I don't know if you feel about it the same way, but I watched it a while ago, and then Dagan is on his way home right now. Corn scratched. He just messaged. What does this mean?
corn scratched.
Oh, he's already
Cornstarch, you
listening.
ding dong.
Cornstarch. He's already listening. All right, maybe
Uh,
he's getting ready.
all right,
But
all right.
I don't know. I guess he'll pop in or whatever. A while ago, he also messaged before you get the intro in. I also wanted to say that he's confirmed to show up either now or later. He says he's excited. I
He's got to
like
put
this guy.
cornstarch
He's
first.
got, yeah, he's probably putting on cornstarch right now. He's got a great vlog. Oh, he's talking about his channel. So that's what I got to watch today. I was hoping that we get to talk a little bit about it. I'm sure you have a couple of comments about seeing
Yeah,
it
yeah,
also.
yeah. I do, I do. It was
And
really good. Yeah.
okay, wow. So Sean, he's still on the boat.
Wow, still on the boat. Puhon. What puhon? What does puhon mean?
That's probably Bisaya. Maybe something like please
Right.
wait
Don't
or
forget to put cornstarch on your sacks. Okay. I know it's hot right now.
we should probably get that
You
intro
should
going,
probably
get
get
this
that going.
show on the road.
Two guys from two sides of the world. The flip side with Jay and Noel. You can catch us live online on YouTube and Facebook Monday, Wednesdays, and Sundays. And now, your hosts, Jay and Noel.
Every time I see this intro that we have, it so doesn't match us.
What do you mean? It's
Oh
too
my
deep.
god, we just started and I got kicked out already. Shit.
All right.
Hold the fort. Hold the fort.
While you're figuring that out, I will share with you the meaning of puhon. According to Google here, it's God willing, hopefully. Puhon is a Bisaya word that means God willing or hopefully. This expression is said when you are hoping something will happen in the future. So he's on his way. So last minute, I messaged him if he can join us for the show. Okay, actually, full disclosure, it was Jason's idea to have Dagan, Millennial Legend Dagan, to join us on the show tonight. And I was like, nah, maybe like next week when after we've watched all the videos, because I don't want to keep having to invite him every time we watch a vlog and then keep inviting him. It's like kind of back and forth, back and forth. But maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. But I figured nahiya naman ako. I felt embarrassed to keep inviting the guy. Give me a moment. I'm having my moment here, okay? Before you get in. I was a bit embarrassed to keep inviting the guy in, but after watching the video, I was thinking, oh, maybe it's a good idea to have him on today, tonight already, if he is available, and then we'll invite him again next week. Are you purposely not getting in because you want me to feel uncomfortable,
No,
or
you told me to hold on, give me my moment. So I like literally just sat there, not wanting to.
all right,
I
no,
didn't want to
that's
interrupt you. You know,
I didn't
it
mean it
sounded so
literally.
good.
I meant it like come in, but don't say anything because I'm gonna lose my
Okay,
train of thought. My train of
my
thought.
mistake. My mistake. I'm so sorry. I'm
So
so
I
sorry.
kind of feel like a dog na pinalabas sa hawla, got out of the cage with
Hmm.
my newfound voice,
Right.
and so all the stuff that's coming out of my mouth right now is what's been trying to come out of my ass
So
throughout the week.
you before I got kicked off or before I logged out real quick, you were saying that puhon means what now?
Puhon means soon or see you
Soon.
later or God willing, hopefully.
Ah,
No, not soon.
well, that makes
God willing,
sense.
God willing.
That makes sense then. Okay, still coming on the boat soon. Nah, dude, your Filipino Tourette's is starting to kick in, Dagan.
No, not soon, not soon. But is that what he said? Yeah, I think that's what he said in Bisaya daw,
Yeah,
soon.
yeah,
Or but more like God willing, according to my little research here.
yeah, yeah. All right. Good morning. How are you? Or good evening.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like I'm a dog that just you know, got the leash taken out and I'm like running around the room right now with my newfound voice.
Right.
Um yeah, no, what is it that I wanted to say? Wanted to share a couple of things with you before we get into talking about Dagan's historical tour of the Philippine American cemetery. And thanks to Tin for coming up with the thumbnail. Magtatampo na naman to pagka hindi banggitin eh.
Thank you, Tin.
So we'll talk about that, but I also wanted to just first acknowledge
Right.
the iMac. Quick update on the iMac.
Yeah. Is it gone? I mean, is
For,
it alive? What? What's going on?
so I finally unboxed it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Un-
Like 2 weeks
Unboxing
after
talaga
getting
eh,
it
di ba?
back.
I got it out of the
Right.
service center last week. It's been in the box for the past couple of weeks. Finally got it out because I was trying to figure out where to put it again because it's such a big thing that occupies the whole room.
Mm.
So I was trying to figure
Mhm.
out what to do with it. Anyway, so I got it working, but now the keyboard is not working and that kind of thing. And I experienced what that lady was saying that it would just turn off all of a sudden. So it's up, but its life is like 50-50 right now. So
Right. So
and then
right now, are you using it or no?
I'm using it to look at you so that I could be looking at the screen
Right.
like
That's
that
weird.
and
That was
put
weird.
the finger in front like that
Yeah.
and sort of have more of a natural look instead of looking down at my foot like that.
Right.
Um, so that's it as just the screen. But in terms of like screen sharing and doing the keyboard and the mouse kind of thing, I'm using the laptop. Wow, so I'm using two devices right now.
Mm.
Yeah, but as far as whatever I can do with the iMac, I'm trying to use it because of the big
Big
real
screen.
estate. Nagbe-blur daw ako, something slow happening.
Yeah, it's
Okay lang.
fine. Don't mess with the camera because it's gonna shut you off again.
Yun. So yeah, so I experienced what the service center lady was saying that all of a sudden it would just die, and I
Right.
googled a little bit of it, and basically the research says that if that does that, just buy a new one. So ganun lang eh. No, but there
Basically,
was a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit
yeah, yeah.
of something about the energy saver, and then turn the settings off to don't let the hard drive fall asleep. So that
Right.
seems to be
Right.
working. But again, the other problem is the keyboard, and so I'm still not 100% with that. So that's my little
I think it's time to
MacGyver
just
sort of
retire it. It's
update
time to just
with.
retire it.
Yeah, but we're on a budget, so we're doing what we can with what's available.
Right. Right. Right.
So that's my
Makes sense.
little
Yeah.
iMac update. Yeah, so just and
At
again,
least
you
it's
don't.
at least it's back. At least it's back, and then you get to part ways with it properly. Like literally use it until the last drop.
I'm worried about being able to sell it though. That's the problem. If it push comes to shove and I do have to sell it, I don't know if anybody is willing to buy it, kind of thing, and if it's going to be useful for anybody. So that's
Mm.
another research rabbit hole that I'm gonna
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
into. But it kind of ties up to the whole historical idea of what we're talking about today with today in history, in a sense that you got to make the most of what you got. So
Absolutely. I agree with that.
is that where we're gonna go? You want to talk about the vlog already? React to it before Dagon comes in. Talk about him behind his back, or do you want to wait for him?
Well,
What's
I
the
mean,
game
it's
plan?
good to it's always good to talk about comment about it first. I think let's comment about it. Let's give our 2 cents in if he's
Yeah,
watching or not, and then
right.
we'll see how it goes.
I'm curious about your initial comments about it though, because when we sort of talked about it off the air, and I was asking if you watched it already, I thought we were
Mm.
going to do a quick reaction video.
Right.
So we don't want to waste too much time reacting to it too much. What we just want to sort of reference to the rest of the audience that might be
Right.
watching what this is about.
Right.
But without getting too deep into it just yet, what were your initial thoughts after watching the whole thing?
It's a very emotional episode. It's an emotional vlog. Okay, watching it really. While I was watching it, it brought back a lot of memories that I've had with my grandfather.
Mm,
Um, Me and him, what for the short amount of time that I spent living with them, with my grandparents, me and my grandfather spent the most time together, as opposed to me
mm,
with my grandmother. Right. I would be the helper around the house for him building stuff. I'd go to the grocery store with him, the recycling center, all that stuff, whatever. And all
mm,
those times, I'm always asking questions about him, about his experiences and whatnot. And World War II was always one that he went back on, saying that it's an experience that he would never have changed, no matter how good or bad it was.
mm,
You
mm.
know what I mean? It defined him as a person.
Again, your grandfather being serving under the
Serving
U.S.
World War II.
military,
What?
U.S.
Yeah,
military or Philippine.
Philippine military, but he was actually he was serving for both. There was a
Mm,
name. I can't remember the name of the person, the people or the soldiers,
mm. Basta they
soldiers.
bound together.
Yeah. So he was serving for both the Philippine and the U.S. Military, and he was one of the survivors of the Bataan Death March.
Mm-mm.
So talking to him about that kind of stuff, and watching Dagan's video really kind of like opened up those conversations in my head again. It was a heavy discussion with my grandfather, just like watching his episodes. It was a heavy episode. This episode was heavy as well, and it brought back mixed emotions, to be honest with you, for me. You know,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah. And
Sige,
sorry, go ahead.
let's play a little bit of it.
Yeah,
So we can sort of gather our thoughts and let everybody in on what we're talking about. Again, if you just joined us, this is we're reacting or looking at the Millennial Legends latest vlog right now. You can check it out on their channel, Millennial Legends.
hmm
And this is the one that's up. That's not the thumbnail, but it's quick recap. I made a reaction video to this, by the way. I'll put it up on our channel or my personal channel or whatever. When I watched it, I recorded myself watching, so
hmm
it was a solo thing because you watched it already.
Yeah.
But um, quick recap on what happened here. Jason here turned me on to the Millennial Legends, and then it just so happens a couple of weeks later they were passing Metro Manila, and then so we rendezvoused at BGC, and they shot a little bit of video and or their vlog, and I had the privilege to be able to tag along and
Partake
shadow
on
and
it.
basically see them work. Not well, I was really just there to see what goes on behind the scenes when somebody as dedicated to his craft like this
Right,
is working,
right,
and I
right.
wanted to see what goes on behind the scenes. And yeah, I helped out a little bit, but that wasn't really the goal of the day. But anyway, so we met up at the mall, and then right after that we went to the cemetery, and this is where this video picks up.
Right.
Go ahead, Jay. You want to play a little bit of it?
Yep. Let me go and press play. Just to let you know, this one's a little bit sped up, so let me know.
To have been able to come here today. This made my trip for me. This place is beautiful. In proud remembrance of the achievements of her sons and in humble tribute to the sacrifices, this memorial has been erected by the United States of America. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Millennial Legends YouTube channel. My name's Dagan. I'm a 36-year-old American millennial who decided to leave everything behind and move here to the Philippines. And you know what? It's been the best decision I've ever made. Today's episode is a little bit different. Today's episode is a heavy, deep, emotional, and historical one that I'm actually really excited to talk to you about. Recently on our trip to Manila, we decided to take a visit to the American World War II Cemetery and Memorial for both Americans who lost their lives and the Filipino scouts and soldiers who lost their lives during the battles of World War II here in the Philippines. A quick intro so that you understand my background. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I served 6 years in the U.S. Navy on board the Abraham Lincoln, an aircraft carrier. On its first deployment, the Abraham Lincoln conducted operations in Operation Fiery Vigil, which was to save thousands, tens of thousands of Filipinos from a massive volcano that erupted in the 80s. But where we're at right now is on the island of Bohol. We're near the town of Guindleman in the barangay of Ginakot. This is a really historical area for a lot of reasons. Number one, the water you see behind me, the Bohol Sea, is the area of water in which the Japanese fleet transited before the Battle of Leyte Gulf. Now, for a quick history lesson so that you guys understand my background and where I'm coming from, during my time in the military, I obtained a degree in world history studying.
Sorry, I hope you don't mind pausing it real quick.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll have enough time to watch the whole thing. It's just
No, we won't.
if you keep pausing it, we're going to run out of time. It's a 15-minute vlog. But before I forget to mention, so I watched the video, and then I don't know how I got into it, but I started like researching like Philippine history in the Philippines, the curriculum in the schools. And then I went down sort of this rabbit hole after just a couple of article searches.
Right.
I'll share the article with you later. I don't have it queued up right now, but basically there's a couple of articles on Rappler saying that we don't have Philippine history in schools anymore. So that's actually what I wanted to talk more about with Dagan and you, with the rest of the show, if we could actually, if that's true and why and what happened. And I also try to write to the guys that wrote the article if we can get them on someday to tell us a little bit more about that. And I'm also curious about the comments on Dagan's video. So I was kind of hoping that we'd be able to get into that too.
Right. Let me
Go ahead.
Let me jump around here a little bit.
No options. They had no choice. They had no deep draft water in which they could conduct this operation or the movement of their entire fleet. And when they got around the corner here, after the PT boat attack that came from this very area right here, the entire U.S. battleship fleet that was remaining was waiting for them in ambush in the Leyte Gulf. Truly an amazing piece of history and truly an amazing piece of historical dedication and sacrifice by those men who were willing to give the ultimate sacrifice of their own lives and bodies and soul to the betterment of the humanity and the betterment of the people of the Philippines and the people of the United States and the people of the world. So in today's episode, my friends Noel and his beautiful queen Christine, who live in the northern provinces just outside, about an hour outside of Manila, decided to come with us and film and vlog a day in the BGC area of what is known as BGC Uptown area just north of Manila. All right, so emotional is to commercially vlog, video, or film while you're in there. So the only times that we were able to film.
So
Hold on a second.
Yeah, watching. From what I've read in regards to this cemetery, it's very similar to how it is what they set up in Arlington Cemetery as well.
Yeah, he does mention about Arlington Cemetery on the vlog, but I totally get him when he said, because I've also been to Arlington Cemetery during that high school field trip that we did. And yeah, it feels different. I don't know how or why, but there's something about the place that's really special. Dagan message, he says, yeah, that's what I really want to talk about too. That's what I want to talk about also. So I didn't know this. I moved back to the Philippines 97. We did have a little bit of history in my high school. I graduated I graduated high school here. So I left the US. I was a sophomore going into junior year. I skipped junior year and was in senior year already when I was in high school here in the Philippines, but I had to do a little bit of tutorials to sort of catch up. we did a little bit of history. Like we had like history books,
Hmm.
and like I was saying on my little reaction video a while ago, I haven't published it yet, but I'll try to link it up to this video when I get a chance to. Um, we did have Philippine history on the books, but it kind of just sort of skimmed through it, basically saying we won,
Right.
and and that's kind of it. It didn't like go
It's
deep.
like a shortened version, and that's kind of the same experience I had in regards to it as well.
Either that or I wasn't paying attention. But the thing that caught my attention after watching this video, and maybe I'm jumping the gun here. We'll play a little bit of his video a little bit more. Was that if this is true or not? I didn't know this. That there's no Philippine history in the Philippines anymore.
Yeah, that shocked me. That really shocked me because you would. I don't know why a country would take out their own history within the school's curriculum, though.
Came across this group on Facebook, Kasaysayan Wag Kalimutan Philippine high school Philippine history movement. Basically,
Hmm.
they're asking to bring it back. We seek to have a dedicated Philippine history subject in the high school curriculum of the country. Can you believe that? When we did K 12, when we changed the curriculum, I guess they took history out.
Right. I
So
don't understand. Why? I
I
mean,
didn't
why? Why? So there's no history class at all in the Philippines anymore, or are they teaching like U.S. history?
Well, if they're saying that it's not dedicated anymore, that means there's no specific class. Maybe they talk about it during math or PE. Now, oh, by the way, we won this war or we lost that war, and there was the Bataan Death March.
Right.
But it's not a dedicated class.
So
Parang
there's no. It's
maybe they
it's
just
not a subject anymore. It's not an actual
yeah.
subject anymore, like a
Sounds like they
history class, so to
sounds like
speak.
they just discuss it in passing, but
Right.
not specifically. Yeah,
I
maybe
don't
because
understand that, but there's so many reasons, even for the Philippines itself. It should never be taken out. People need to learn about the history as it is.
I'm curious why. Why did they decide to take it out? I mean, is it a waste of time because we're memorizing too many dates and names
Hmm.
and it's not useful? You know what I mean?
Or is it because maybe it's too ugly? Maybe they see it as something to be ashamed of. But they
Maybe.
shouldn't. They shouldn't if that is the case. I mean, every country has a bad history, one way or the other. There's no
Mm.
country out there that has perfect history. Doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't know why or
Right.
how, but
With
that,
with the Spaniards taking over, how the Philippine culture people fought for freedom from that. With
mm,
history attacking, with Japan attacking the Philippines during World War II,
mm,
um, and then being under American government, so to speak, for a while.
mm.
I don't know why you would not want to teach your kids about the Philippines history. The Philippines as a country, as on its own, is young enough as it is. It's too early for a country on its own to just want to erase their history, their past.
Maybe not erase, but to just like they're probably
Well, that's
saying,
what's
let's just
happening,
probably the mentality is let's just look forward.
which is
Forget about the past. Let's just look forward. But
I can't.
ironically,
It's a Filipino thing, though.
Jose Rizal himself said, ang hindi makakalingon sa pinanggalingan, hindi makakarating sa karoroonan. For those that can't look back at history, will
Mhm.
not be able to get to where they want to get to.
Correct.
I'll share with you the article. We can jump back to Dagan's video in a second here, but I
Mhm.
wanted to share with you the articles that I came across a while ago.
Right.
History and Crisis Review K to 12 curriculum open the schools, and it goes somewhere along here about how part one History and Crisis easier for students to fall for disinformation and distance learning setup. This one's a little bit of an argument about how it's easier for students to fall for like fake news or
Right.
disinformation, misinformation, like Jose Rizal being the son of Hitler or something like that. Like anybody
Right,
can just say
right.
anything, and the kids don't really, fact check themselves. So just maybe that's the thing. It's because it's
That's
not.
social media's fault now. Has nothing to do with the curriculum itself, obviously.
Maybe because it's not exciting. Maybe because it's boring. Simple as that.
Uh, that doesn't make sense. Even if that is the reason, why would you use that as a reason to take out your country's history and teach it to your citizens? No, that is
Let me
something
share.
that should be something that should be taught to like everybody that goes into the country as well or wants to reside there as well,
Here's
or
the other
people who
one that
are
I wanted to.
immigrating there.
Yeah, here's the other one that I wanted to share with you: the slow death of Philippine history in high school. So this is
Right.
probably the more important one. I didn't get the chance to read it. Yeah, as in like literally 5 minutes before we were gonna set up, and I needed to put up the camera and everything. Came across this and just decided to write them an email. Hopefully, I hear from them back. But yeah, slow death of Philippine history in high school sounds like, with just reading the gist of the article here, like how it wasn't taken out like in one big sweep, but it
Hmm.
was just slowly, incrementally taken out.
Right.
So yeah, I'll look at this article and maybe we can
I don't
do a
know
follow up.
what they replaced it with. I want to know what they replaced it with, why they took it out, what's the
Mm,
reasoning behind it. Did
yeah,
did the president of the Philippines actually agree to it?
no idea. Here's one of
You
the
know?
uh, uh here's this is how the article actually starts, where there's this government official or something asking about how's history class with one of the students, and he says, "Oh, did you find out? Did you know that I just found out that Jose Rizal is Jack the Ripper?"
Oh
you
God.
know, so and the kid was so excited to share
Right.
the little bit of Philippine history, but he had to let the kid know that the dates when Jose Rizal was alive and when when Hitler was alive don't match, and
Right.
you gotta do your you gotta do your fact check. And oh,
That's the thing there. I mean, social media, it goes away from it. Uh
Dagan here says that he has the answer to that comment that I was saying, I think, a while ago, why they decided to take it out of the schools.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's what he's talking about here. Looking forward to
Maybe,
hearing from
maybe.
you, man.
What's that?
I said I'm talking to Dagan. Sorry, I was
Oh,
interrupting you. Looking forward to hearing his answer.
yeah. I don't believe that they should remove it from or they definitely need to bring it back. I mean, Filipino citizens, especially the children of the Philippines, need to know the history of the country.
I think it's the packaging. I was eating. I went out to buy balot a while ago, and itlog ng pugo. Itlog ng pugo is like really small
Quail eggs, yeah, yeah.
quail eggs.
Yeah.
I was eating balot, and shout out to the balot vendor, by the way, here in our little subdivision. There's some that try to mix the old and the new balot together,
Hmm.
but this particular balot vendor that I got to seemed to be selling fresh balot. Anyway, I got to the quail eggs, and I was like, the quail eggs really have a bad reputation because they're so hard to open and they're so small.
Because they're so small. What does that have anything to do with what we were talking about?
I think it's the way that we teach history in school. I don't
I
know
don't
if
think
that's
so.
connected to Dagan's answer. I'm looking forward to hearing it later. But if I recall my history classes, it was just so stale and boring, and I got to the idea that why do we have to memorize these dates and names?
Um,
I think it's
I,
the
d- I-
packaging.
I don't think it's the packaging. I think it's the students, the people itself.
And and
Unfortunately,
and I think it started off when we took out Nayong Pilipino. Like we don't have any more like historical places that we can really visit aside from maybe hole in the wall museums here and there.
mhm.
But we don't have like historical places that we
Hold,
can actually go to.
Nayong Pilipino has been taken out.
You didn't know that?
No, dude, of course not.
Yeah, they
When did
took it out and they
when?
moved it somewhere else. I don't even know where it is now.
So what's on there now? Apartment complex?
No, no, no. I think they extended the runway because it's right beside the airport.
Yeah, I know. Jesus Christ, what are they doing?
I'm,
Seriously.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You could be right. There could be condos or it could be a airport
Yeah.
parking lot. I'm not sure. But there was some kind of development that they were doing. So yes, they took it out and they moved it to a different province somewhere. I think Pampanga
It
or Pangasinan somewhere.
it's also easy to look at it as if people are getting sick and tired of the newer generation not wanting to learn these things.
That's my
Um,
question. Where is Nayong Pilipino?
I man, right? Um, Unfortunately, kids here as well. There's so many kids here that don't even know that there's 50 states in the U.S. You know, when it comes to history here, they
Mm,
also don't put much they don't emphasize it, or they don't. I don't know if they're just not listening to it. They're just not into it.
mm.
You know, you'll see so many people asking questions, these street questions that they have in regards to history. Do they know who their? They don't know who their vice president is. They
Yeah.
don't know how many years the president serves in their terms. It's pretty sad. Now maybe it's the same thing that teachers in the Philippines are also feeling, that we're spending time teaching the history of our country, but nobody cares about it. And what's even
Telling
sad
you, I think
is,
it's the packaging, man.
could be, it could
and
be.
and and the infrastructure around it. Like now, if you want to find out more about history, or if you want your kid to have a little bit more of an appreciation for history, you have to take him out and do your own history lesson. Like you're not going to learn it in school anymore, bro. Let me share with you the search that I found here from TripAdvisor.
Hmm.
They said that Nayong Pilipino is now in, guess where? Clark, Pampanga.
What?
Yeah, so
Why?
they
Why
moved
would
it
they even
there.
do that?
But have you been to the Nayong Pilipino in the old one right beside the
Yes,
domestic airport before?
yes, I have. As a kid, I actually had
Oh,
a field trip there.
ayun.
It's funny that you mentioned the quail eggs, the pugo, because that's the
Oh,
first place I've ever had it. I bought it. Some kid was selling it as soon as I got out of the bus for a field trip there,
oh, oh.
and I had it there. And that's also the first place where, in a way, kind of got me interested really in the Philippines history at that time. My my
Did
my curiosity in regards to history, no matter where I was, started from there.
did you get to walk around that pond, the Philippine map pond?
Yeah, because you actually, back then, you can actually
Wow.
rent a bike and actually ride it around it.
Galing, galing. Yeah, so I got to
Yeah,
see that also before I left for the Philippines, left and went to school in San Francisco. I got to see that before
right,
we
right.
left. Yeah, here, like it looked something. I don't know if they recreated it here, but it looked like
Hmm.
this, right? There was like a little pond which represented the Philippine Sea and the,
Correct.
you know, and then they built Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and
Hmm.
then you could walk around. There's like, did you like the bridge? You remember the bridge?
Yeah, from back then, you can go cross it
Yeah.
the other side. Yeah,
Oh, right.
yeah.
Yeah. And so now, if you want to experience, Philippine culture, na yung Filipino, it's in Clark, Pampanga.
Right, right. That's always a good place to go to, though. I mean, but I've never been to this one, the new one, but the one I remember is from back then. So at least they didn't completely erase it, but it looks
They
like they
moved it.
probably shrunk it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
because there's even a section at the old Nayong Pilipino where they have the chocolate hills of Bohol.
Mm-mm.
Do you remember that? It's like in the backside of it
Yeah,
where
that's
they have
right.
the mini versions of Bohol.
Right,
You
right,
know,
right, right, right. Yeah. I remember
because I
that.
remember standing over the lookout point from that stairs, peeling my peeling my
But the
my quail
but the
eggs.
but the chocolate hills were really, really small. Galing,
Correct.
how
Yeah, yeah.
like
I remember
these
that.
quail eggs, nang Filipino, and everything sort of connects.
It's funny
Which
that everything just connected there, and it just like really caught my memory, brought the memories back. But yeah,
there's
it's kind of the.
another that Canadian vlogger that I mentioned to you the last couple of episodes before. He went to this uh what looks like Nang Filipino, but it's not really. It was like historical houses that they
Mhm.
built or moved in this location, and you can actually stay. It's a resort basically, but they have like different types of houses there.
Right.
Really, really like interesting thing that they decided to put on there. But
Right.
again, just going back, like appreciation for our history, Philippine
Right.
history is a bit sort of, it's like a neat, it's like a not taboo, but yung parang very niche kind of interest.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not, it's not like laid down on the table where here's our little history and you can find out a little bit more about it. It's like if you want to find out more about our history, it's like dun, 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 you know, you know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
taking it out of high school, you really have to be interested in it for you to find out a little bit more about it.
Right.
That's such
Right.
a
I
shame.
mean, that's how it is basically, though. I mean, they should be teaching it in school to give you the idea and open up your curiosity so that when you go out there, you can actually venture out to it yourself. Like, l- I remember talking about this, like, all of these places, like, I learned about in school in history class is what opened my curiosity to Philippine history. Hindsight, or it also that's why I ended up forcing my dad to like, hey, can we really pay for this field trip to Nong Pilipino because I really want to go, right? At the same time, after that, I'm like asking my dad, hey, I want to go to see the Rizal Plaza. So you know where Jose
Mm-mm,
Rizal is. So I'm looking
mm-mm,
at this picture um, for Rizal Plaza, the aerial view of it.
mm.
It's kind of different nowadays as well. I'm looking at this, and this is Rizal Plaza, okay, in Manila, in the Philippines. All of
In Met
these
in Metro Manila.
in Metro Manila, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm, 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 mm.
It looks like they took out a lot of the other monuments. That there used to be something here, like on the left side, where
Mm,
they have statues that explains different processes of Jose Rizal's um, life, where he was shot, where he was riding in jail, yada yada yada. To the right side, basically, there used to be
mm.
like a small building next to the walkway there. Remember,
So they only left the one in the center.
that's what it looks like, unless they moved it again. Um, I don't know why
So
they
yun
would
eh.
do such a thing.
So no Philippine history in high school. Here, I want to share something with you also.
Yeah,
No Philippine history in high school, and then the monuments are slowly disappearing.
are they
And
purposely trying to erase things or what?
I don't know if that's the
Making
word
room to
for it.
for something better, so to speak, or
That's
something
that's
more
what's
that's relatable to the future or current the Philippines.
that's what it's beginning to seem like. So let me see if I could share this other one with you. See if I could present it. Where is that? There's like a day tour here that I ran into. Where is that?
I do
Day's
remember my
private tour.
my Filipino. So it's well. Here's another question: Are they still teaching Tagalog like Filipino in the
Yeah, yeah,
in
very
schools?
much so. I know because my son's failing it. But look at
Ah,
this. 105,000 pesos to be able to go around. I don't know what the itinerary is, but basically that's another thing. For you to be able to appreciate history here in the Philippines, you have to have the money.
that's crazy. That is so crazy. Just to do a tour of that area,
Yeah, but this one looks like you're gonna go around vegan, and then you're gonna go around different uh provinces, all the way
$2,000.
all the way to Metro Manila, I guess. Maybe accommodations and the whole your
Okay, I was about to
your
say
maybe I didn't read the itinerary and what the inclusions are, but you know, the Clark
the
Museum.
Clark Museum. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you go. It says here, 5 days private tour, Manila, Angeles,
Well, there you
and
go.
vegan Ilocos. So there.
So
So
that's
it's
probably the whole package, from food, maybe food or hotel. Probably not
oh.
food.
Pero yun na, di ba? Na yung Pilipino, everything was there, and you get like a
Everything was there.
little
Yeah.
TikTok version of Philippine history.
Right, right, right. That's one thing that I love about where I live, though. I'm so close to, well, where I live is part of history to begin with. I live in this county where the, the Battle of Bull Run, like I said, is literally 25 minutes,
Mm,
30 minutes that way.
mm, mm,
Um,
mm, mm.
you can go to so many places where I live where history has literally walked through. You know, you can travel 40 minutes to the west of where I am. You can go to Mount Vernon where George Washington lived.
So, but what you're saying a while ago is the historical landmarks, the statues and that kind of thing. You don't feel like they're disappearing there in the states,
No,
but you
that's one thing that's
feel,
not happening here.
but you also feel that the students, high school students in particular, don't have that appreciation, just like maybe here in the Philippines also.
I mean, anybody, maybe I'm not saying obviously in everybody. Okay, I'm saying in general.
Mm,
The students here are probably the same way or the students there. The lack of appreciation for history itself is it's disappearing. I mean, it's just happening. They just don't. Not everybody is just why do you need to learn about it? You know, it's in the
mm,
past. The past
mm,
is the
mm, mm, mm.
past. Let's move on. You
Looking
know.
forward to what Dagan has to say about that. Do you mind if we go back to the video
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
have a little jump, at it? I think one of the highlights of the video is, I think it was a surprise for the both of us. I hope you don't mind being the one to cue it up, Jay. I
For
don't
yeah, yeah.
have it.
Which one are we
I
talking
don't
about?
have it ready. The video, Dagan's video. The
Film were during
maybe
brief moments while we were
maybe
with a park ranger or while we were
Yep.
maybe
with
you can
Sorry.
officials
jump.
and while we were on.
Maybe you can jump to the. I think we're gonna run out of time. Maybe you can jump to the part where they were uh, lowering the flag, because that part was, I think, a surprise for all of us. We weren't planning to get there at, so apparently it seems at 5 o'clock,
Hmm.
4:30 or 5 o'clock every day, they have this lowering the flag ceremony. But they probably have one in the morning also.
Hmm.
But it so happens that we arrived there late, like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then at
Hmm.
5 o'clock they were closing, and they played the U.S. National anthem. They
Hmm.
lowered the U.S. flag, and then it was two civilian Filipinos that were basically doing the ceremony. And then
Right.
I was so, do you mind like sort of skipping, jumping to that part?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think you could just find it, but it was emotional for me also as a Filipino, because I appreciated the fact that they were doing it whether there was a crowd or no crowd,
Right.
that they were
Right.
honoring tradition and history, whether somebody was there to watch or not. That was really touching.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just had a very emotional hour walk through this absolutely gorgeous, humbling, beautiful, magnanimous cemetery and memorial for both Filipino and Americans, all who died in the name of freedom during World War II. This was, wow, this was heavy. I'm gonna proudly go out there and admit that I have already cried 3 times. Every tear was well deserved here. What they've done here and what they've built here, like, in my opinion, every single student, every single child in the world needs to be thrown on a bus and marched into a place like this and reminded of why they have the luxuries they have today. To those engineers and craftsmen that built this place, both American and Filipino.
If you don't mind just pausing real quick,
Mhm.
technically there are rules in the cemetery that we're not actually supposed to be taking videos.
Yeah.
But in fairness to Dig, and I don't want to get him in trouble, in fairness to him, there was actually uh, not escorts, but there was like a gardener and a bantay. There was a guard that was looking and seeing if we were taking appropriate video or not. So
Right.
technically, you're not supposed to, but I guess if you do a little bit of it, just a little bit of it with respect, and you carry yourself properly, which I think what Dagan was doing here, it was no problem.
Right,
but
right, right.
otherwise they would have called their attention or called his attention if he wasn't allowed to be taking videos there. But that's part of
That's
the
good
rules.
though. That's good.
You're
Yeah.
not supposed to be and he was taking a video like in the, I think in the more public spaces, but there are some spots in the cemetery where it's really not appropriate. And I don't think it's because they don't want you to be taking videos of the place. I think it's really more about,
It's
like, if you
just
take your,
respect.
it's respect, because you take your camera out,
Hmm.
you're not visiting Niagara Falls, or you're not walking around like a Tambiolo or a fair. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
once you take out the camera, you're like, "Hi guys, we're here at the cemetery." You don't want to be, acting like that. So
Right, right.
it's your demeanor and your respect for the place, and and then maybe they'll give you a little bit of consideration about the camera.
That's definitely
So
one thing I want to experience. I haven't experienced this yet at the Arlington Cemetery where they're changing of the guards. But I saw a
mm,
video, I think on YouTube, where they were going through the changing of the guards, and there was a couple of ding dongs, literally just
mm-mm,
check that out,
mm-mm,
like on video camera, and I'm
mm-mm.
like, come on, really? It's a
Yeah.
similar thing, how where they have in Buckingham Palace, they have those guards,
Yes.
and then people will do whatever they can to try to distract them.
Magyayabang ako. I've
Right,
been to both. I've been to both the Arlington Cemetery. I've witnessed the changing of the guards, and I've been to London. Take my picture beside those guards, and it's a
right.
different feeling.
It is. I bet. I bet. I'm so jealous. I've never had the chance.
I
Um.
was like 8 years old when I
Right.
visited the London guards,
Yeah.
and then I
That's
was like maybe 14, 15, 16 when I got to visit the changing of the guards in.
right.
Is
Right.
it in Washington?
Yeah. Yeah. It's Arlington.
Yeah.
It's
So
like right
yun,
next to
so
Washington.
you're allowed to take pictures. You're allowed to take pictures, but you're not allowed to act like a monkey, or you're not allowed to act like a fool.
Correct. Which everybody does. It's insane um just to get the likes or whatever, people to watch. I don't understand it. You know, maybe in the Philippines, it's the lack of respect and interest is why they're deciding to do what they're doing in regards to taking away um, teaching history in schools.
Dagan says he'll be on in 4 minutes. We'll give
Oh,
him a
sounds
couple of
good.
minutes. Yeah. So
Yeah,
just in time. And when he gets on, it's like, okay, that's it for the show. We'll catch you on the
we'll
next one.
catch you guys later. Um,
But yeah, we're looking forward to hearing from you, Dagan. Give you a couple of minutes to answer the question about what's up with Philippine history
yeah,
in our
yeah, yeah.
schools.
It's sad. This is the first time me hearing it. I'm shocked by it, to be honest with you.
Which one? About Philippine
Uh,
history not being in
Not
high
being
school?
taught in the Philippines. It's kind of disturbing to me, to be honest with you. Why
Anything
wouldn't you?
else? Anything else you want to talk about before Dagan goes on? Your reaction to the vlog?
Really quick,
Any
the one thing that I do
comment?
appreciate where I live, where I was trying to get at earlier, as of late, we have been visiting Washington, D.C. more and more, almost once a week for the past month and a half.
Mm, 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 mm.
Looking at museums, there's these things here, the Smithsonian museums. I don't know if you're familiar. They're free to the public,
Mm, mm,
where you can literally learn about U.S. natural history, world history, um, arts,
mm,
and when we're talking about arts, we're talking about past arts, modern arts as well. There's also the Smithsonian African American Museum, but I haven't had the chance to go there yet. There's the Botanical Gardens. Um, these are all historical museums here that are free to the public. And every time we go, to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad to see that people are taking the time still to go to these things. Walking around the Washington Monument, you know,
I'm really, really beginning to feel that it's the marketing, man. Like there's got to be like a PR person for Philippine history. Like Philippine
I
history.
don't think that's it. Somebody made a stupid decision to just take it out. Why?
Yeah, yeah,
I
but
don't understand.
that's got to be just the cherry on top. There's got to be like so many other layers
Right.
that.
And then you're gonna take out Filipino history, but you're teaching Tagalog still. How does that even make sense?
Mm.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Again, before Dagan goes on, I just wanted to share. I hope I'm not cutting you off, Jay, but
Yeah.
just wanted to share with you guys a couple of articles here that if you're just joining us, check out these couple of articles that I came across today after watching Dagan's vlog about after visiting the Filipino American Cemetery in BGC. I
Hmm.
came across this slow death of Philippine history in high school. So look at
Hmm.
this one. It's by Jamaico.
Jamaico
Ha-
Ignacio or
D.
Jamaico
Ignacio. Yeah,
Ignacio.
it's a article that he wrote back in 2019. It's on Rappler. You might
Hmm.
want to look into that. And the other one here, how do I share this one? The other article that I also came across, History in Crisis. This one, I hope to hear from
Hmm.
these guys. History in Crisis review, K to 12 curriculum open the schools. This one's a little bit more about fake misinformation on the internet. That's why they need.
Well, this
Uh,
article was written in 2022. So are we like just behind the ball here? Are they now teaching English? I mean, Filipino in history? But in any
there's
case,
still
all the links
here,
will be down below
but
in the comment
here.
section.
A middle section of the article. Bring
Hmm.
back history lessons. Philippine history was removed from the core curriculum of instruction of Araling Panlipunan Social Studies in the junior high school and senior high school through the Department of Education order in 2014. Ignacio, who leads the movement in back history classes, and I invite you to check out their
Hmm.
Facebook page also, told Rappler that a dedicated Philippine history subject for high school programs in the country will recalibrate students. So, in other words, there's no specific history classes in high school anymore. Maybe they talk about
Right.
it during math class or during PE or
Mm.
other classes
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
passing, but it's not a dedicated class, is what they're basically saying.
Right.
And he's
Um. Sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
just to finish the paragraph, critical thinking skills and digital literacy skills at a time when disinformation is rampant on social media.
Right.
So it's a chance for us to recalibrate the students, is what they're arguing
Right.
about,
Right.
bringing history back. Yeah, you were saying?
As they should. The flip side of that, in Hawaii, Hawaii is basically they're dubbing it as like one of the little Philippines in the country, But um, in Hawaii, as of early this year, February 27, 2024, I believe there's an article that came out that they're saying that Filipino will now be taught in Hawaiian schools.
Filipino will now be taught in Hawaiian schools as
Correct.
an elective?
I don't know if it's an elective. I have this article. I just literally Googled it.
Uh-oh,
What'd you do?
sorry, I took it out.
Yeah, you took it out.
I took it out by
Um,
accident, sorry.
it's Filipino history will finally be taught in Hawaiian schools thanks to these students. So basically, there is uh, a number of students. Looks like they signed a petition because they want to learn about their heritage. Yada yada yada. I
Mm-mm.
also know that Filipino is actually being taught in Brown University.
Interesting. And we talked about Harvard also offering it, though, right?
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Hey, Dagan's on. Should we put him on already? He's
Yep,
ready.
yep, yep, yep. Let me go ahead and put him on here.
We are running out of time, though. I think we'll just have to put you on the next episode, Dagan.
What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, maayong gabi kababayans.
Ah,
Kumusta?
good
Oy.
evening, good evening.
How did you go spearfishing?
I did a little bit of spearfishing, yes.
I need
Every
you to
night.
move your fan just a little bit to the side because it's blowing your microphone. I know you got a lot of fans, but
It's
just
okay.
this one is
How's that? It's
getting.
off.
Tell
Did you
us.
put some cornstarch on?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Bro, let's get right to it. I don't want to waste too much of your time. You said you have an answer
Not at all.
for.
Yeah, well, I actually was able to. So my script book's always with me. So I was noting as you were questioning.
Yeah. What was the question again? Can you remind us of what we were talking about and what you wanted to get
Well,
into?
there's
Why was Philippine?
go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go
I've
ahead.
got a
Philippine
few.
history.
Number one, I'll just give you a brief on it. And my best piece of advice, if you're going to understand history or why it changes or why it's changed, definitely number one would be to keep an eye on history, to look at the old books versus the new books. What happens, why it's changing, who changed it, what government or what party was in when it changed, and what you'll see. And I'm going to get down to the brassest tacks you guys could ever have on this. History began to change for you the moment you allowed Christianity to take over your agnostic culture. And
So that's as
that would
far
be
as being able to appreciate history and why we should have it in classes. But did you know that it was taken out of high school to begin with? And
I
why?
did, because I actually have an episode coming up called The Future of the Philippines, where I get to sit down with 2 college students and a high school student and see their level of education. And it's pretty humbling to where those that try or those that have good parents who promote it versus those who don't, and those who. So as a parent, it's really their priority, because you should be auditing every ounce of knowledge that's being fed to your children every single night.
Yeah, but that doesn't really happen in the real world that much. Sad to say.
Well, sad to say, true. I'm not one to argue the sad truths of the world, not at all. But I'm one to promote the "I hope it happens" thing.
Right.
But it really does come back down to, like, it's the same thing for me. You know that my ex is from Seattle. I'm from Florida. Those are the opposite corners of the United States. When we sat down over the years as we were together, it literally says in the books that we were taught completely different things, and we're from the same country.
2 different states, 2 different history books.
Completely. You know,
it's
like
always like that.
Oh, it's 100%, and I couldn't even imagine what it is here. But for me, I think the biggest thing, and like so we can full circle this. You just touched on Hawaii and why Hawaii is allowing the culture to remain, because Hawaii is like Native Americans. Native Americans are like Native Filipinos. When I see all these people talk about oppression in this country, and this is a historical hypocrisy and something you can study in repetitiveness over the hundreds of thousands of years of humanity, you see people complain about oppression and then go to a Christian church. You all have original deities. What's wrong with the old gods? What's wrong with believing in what your ancestors believed in for 70,000 years? That was the way of your culture and your history. And because that song was sung every day in pride to the culture and appreciation of who you are as a people, your history remained. The moment you allowed Christianity and Catholicism to come into your country, just like we did as Native Americans, or my father's families as Native Hawaiians, your culture and history began to slowly get bled out. And it's the same thing for all those cultures all around the world.
Did we have like a secret resentment about this? Why we ended up not putting history in classes anymore? I mean, how does that connect to? Why did we take out history, Philippine history, in our curriculum?
Yeah,
Napoleon once said there are kings and pawns. Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
No, because the country is itself on its own. It's too young. The Philippines is a very young country on its own. Okay,
the country is young, but the culture is not.
Correct, but the country is young. The history of the country is young on its current state, right? But taking away how it went from point A to point B, and not teaching it to your students, not teaching it to the future of your country, how is that going to help?
It's not, because what you get instead is more people that you can easily manipulate. This world is made of kings and pawns. Many a scholar, many a war hero have said that same statement. I think Napoleon was the first one to be documented saying it. You are either kings or pawns in this world. And the less you know, the more you become a pawn. The more you become a commodity. You are a credit card of life. And they want to make sure as a consumer that goes through all things. So
in so many words, our national hero, Jose Rizal, also has somewhere along the lines of saying, walang maaapi kung walang magpapaapi. There's no, in so many words, there wouldn't be any kings and pawns if there weren't pawns and kings to begin with. But
Hmm.
Yeah, it
maybe
just
I'm
comes down to each culture and how much each culture is mowed over.
but
Okay, like here in the Philippines, they go to Christian church or Catholic church, but then they go and pray and celebrate Lapu Lapu. Lapu Lapu,
Well,
so
there's nothing wrong with that.
his whole movement was to stop Christianity from taking over the agnostic culture and beliefs of your
yeah,
people.
there's a bit of parang belief system that's clashing.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
when you got
Right.
to talk to the high school kids, high school students, did they mention anything about history classes, and not being available in in their curriculum?
I have asked many, and we only met one, which you will see in an upcoming episode that I will release, where I sit down with one college student who she could very well be the next president of the Philippines, but she just wants to be a graphic designer and be left alone. And
Mm.
she understands not only our culture as Americans, but your culture as Filipinos, the history of the world, where it's all coming from, who's oppressing who's deleting whose history. I mean, this girl just goes into it. And I'm just
So,
sitting there like,
do you think it's a conscious
clap.
effort to delete Philippine history, to brush it aside, or was it an innocent mistake? What's going on here? I'm literally just finding out about this just before the show.
Right. So my name is Dagon. The reason I was named and the meaning for my name is an ancient agnostic or pagan god, as you would say, right? And no one knows the culture of my people or where my name comes from or why, because it was erased from history. There is a language of Dagon. There was a city of Dagon. There was a culture and a people of Dagon, and no one has a clue about it because it was erased from history. When I was in the Middle East, you see three different levels of generational history and the monuments and the statues and the pyramids and the temples, and each new culture makes sure to mow it down and make sure that it's forgotten, because how can you lead people if they don't believe in your way? You have to delete the old way so that they'll believe your way, and
So
keep
sorry,
them
I
dumb,
apologize.
keep them coming. That's it.
Guys, the irony of worrying about the Chinese invading the Philippines quietly, silently, because there's so many students and crossing the border kind of thing. But here we are, not even paying attention to our own history. Me,
Eh,
literally just finding out minutes before the show that we don't have Philippine history in high school anymore.
Can
maybe is
you
that's one of the reasons, because Filipinos just don't care about it that much because they're so into what's going on into the Western world.
Guilty as charged.
can I
You
ask
know?
you both a question?
Yeah.
Can you
Speaking for
name
myself.
the what is it, 12 or 13 agnostic gods of the Philippines?
Yeah.
No, of course not.
Come on. I can't. I haven't been there in over 2 decades, 3 decades. I have not learned anything in regards to
He
Philippine
lives
history
here.
since I left. You know? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing, but okay. I think this goes both ways, both in the Philippines and anywhere else, really.
Hmm.
I can't say that, but into the U.S. as well. Kids nowadays, or the younger generation, maybe they're just not seeing the importance of knowing history. You know what I mean? They don't look at it, or maybe their point of view of how I've always believed that you need your history to be able to guide you forward. Because you make
Um,
your own history based on history.
I will concur with you and agree with you and respond saying simply that it comes back to what I said earlier, where this is something where the parents have to instill that pride at home
Mm.
and in the family. If you look at the New Zealanders, the Kiwis, who are bringing back their culture, who have their tattoos in Congress, and
Mm.
there are people who are fighting to maintain their, as the Hawaiians would say, their history, their culture, to protect their aina. There are Native Americans who are trying to survive to keep their bloodlines going, but there's almost not enough of them to continue doing that. Uh, if the Filipino people were acting like those historically amazing Kiwis are, then you would see a different country right now. You would see a
Mm.
different strength. It's just unbelievable.
Guys, before we run out of time, I want to give at least acknowledge this thing that I found on Philippine news from the PNA, Philippine News Agency. Googled why is Philippine history taken out of the Philippine high school curriculum. it doesn't exactly answer why, but in fairness to this article, to pave the way for implementation of the K to 12 program. I guess it's not part of that K to 12 curriculum, but it's being taught separately to grades 5 and 6 students. So it's not in high school, but they moved it down to grade 5 and 6.
That doesn't even make sense.
It's everywhere.
That
It's
is
happening
so
everywhere.
ridiculous.
Very much so.
I don't understand that. So they're going to
Yeah.
teach history to minds that are not as molded yet.
That's,
So basically,
that's
it's gonna
how
be
it's happening
forgotten
to
by the
everybody
time
right now.
it's going to be forgotten by the time they're in what, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade already.
Well, I can tell you this real quick, just to butt in and kind of full circle this before we run out of time. With this episode, in regards to the episode that you guys are reacting to,
Right.
I have not. Now, this is episode 100 coming up next. 1 year of vlogging, 100
Wow.
episodes, and I am very proud to say that I have never received the reaction, the deep emotional
Yeah.
reaction that I have with this one here. A normal YouTube comment is great video. Hey, I love your video. Hey, I love your vibe. Heart emoji, thumbs up emoji. I have over 300 comments that are paragraphs long, and they are so deeply connected. I have learned more in the comments than I did in a year of study of the Philippines. About the Philippines. There are
I wanna
so many
ask you-
Bataan Death March ancestors and War World II's ancestors, and so much grateful, humble knowledge in the comment section. You could rabbit hole just that.
It would be awesome to, if you're just catching us right now, watch or look at Dagan's video, not for the video itself, but just read the comments. But before I ask you, and we start to wrap things up here, guys, before I ask you if there's any theme or anything that stood out, any comments that stood out from your video comment, Dagan, I wanted to just quickly share another article here with you guys real quick, just to balance things out a little bit. There's another article on the Philippine Star that you guys might want to look into, why the loss of a history subject in high school causes a ripple effect in college. Again, the K to 12 thing is they moved it from high school down to grades 5 and 6. And whatever your comments might be, so it is in the news. People are talking about it. People are concerned, but it's not like in your face as much as, the heat wave in China, invading the Philippines, obviously.
You mentioned the Bataan Death March. Okay, my grandfather was actually a survivor of that, and he has told me countless stories in regards to it. Because of your vlog, I actually researched that. I did not know that every year in the U.S. they actually do a 26-mile hike. Sometimes it's longer, where to commemorate and memorialize the Bataan Death March, and it is amazing
With full gear, huh? Full gear. And
gear.
some of them even have like long guns to walk around with.
Correct. There's a link that I'm going to put at the bottom. It's a YouTube guy, quite a number of YouTube people, basically, doing the march, joining the march every year. And I think it's somewhere in Texas.
They did it in New Mexico.
New
I
Mexico,
think.
New Mexico, yes. Yeah. I can't remember what it's called. But I didn't know that they had that.
I think the thing to remember about that death march, guys, and we're veering off track here, is that if you were tired or dehydrated, they'd kill you. They'd stab you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're gone.
Yep.
So they didn't do that for fun because, hey guys, let's walk 26 miles for fun with our rucksacks.
Right.
Yep. So you asked me if I have a couple of comments that really stand out. I do. I actually have them all squared away and screenshotted here. And I'll give you one real quick just to, I've got four if you want to talk about just one. This guy, Don Pack, says, first off, he talks about how he doesn't understand the protests against the U.S. and it's a great deterrence. But then the second paragraph that he writes me, he goes, my grandpa fought in World War II as a guerrilla fighter in central Luzon. Thankfully, he was able to live a full life until 1995. I remember talking to him about his childhood friends who never made it back and the hardships that they endure. That's just like you were saying, Jay, which is pretty heavy. But then this person came on and said, I'm a nurse here in the USA, and I have met many World War II veterans in my nursing career. They've all told me about their experiences in the Philippines. I told them then that my mother was 2 years old during the war. She almost died in the ocean because my grandmother and the rest of their family had to run when the Japanese invaded Samar that night. She was left sitting on a rock on the beach in the ocean by herself when my great-grandmother realized she had forgot her, and they came back, and my mom was still sitting on the rock in the morning and hadn't moved. Thank God God's angels were watching over her. The Battle of Samar. Never forget. Those, I got chills. Those are the comments where I'm like,
Right.
Because if
just
I remember,
unreal.
my Philippine history classes were more like, we had this battle and then we won. There was no details that, it was the Battle of Samar, and then this is what we did, and then we made a mistake. You know what I mean? There's no, you don't really get to sink your teeth into it. Parang
Yep.
our history lessons were just.
My grandfather, one of the deepest things that
It's
he
true.
ever told me, my Lolo
It's
told
true.
me was,
And you guys remember when we talked about the bases, right? And all the bases popping up.
yeah.
All these people that are commenting as well, saying we didn't know about the bases. Can we see the bases? And that's
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, I mean, going through and hearing stories from people, reading in the comments in your vlog, those were
I can't
like,
hear Jay.
can you guys not hear me?
I can hear you, but Dagan can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? No.
No.
I just hear
I
the,
don't know. For some reason,
anyway.
he can't hear you.
Go ahead.
it's interesting.
Yeah, that's weird.
Go ahead, Noel. Go ahead.
Sorry. What were you saying, Jason? And then I'll just relay
It's
it over
just
to Dagan.
basically reading the comments in his video was really touching, and it brought back a lot of personal memories from the conversation I've had with my grandfather. So
He said comments were really touching.
Oh yeah, no, they're intense. It took me basically an entire day to go through all several hundred of those comments, and I was an emotional wreck at the end of it, and pretty mentally exhausted, and kind of just really humbled.
Just with that one video, Dagan, I mean, we're thirsty. Filipinos all over the world are thirsty for Philippine history. And I think we appreciate the fact that you are you taking the channel towards that direction, more historical stuff and more
I think I'm going to do some historical exploration. Like I think I'm going to deep dive into a little bit more of, like, if I can find, while I'm traveling, secret Japanese bases or something cool in the jungle, or something a lot of people don't know about, or like hear a famous plane landed in a crash or something, I'll probably definitely vlog about it. I think I'm definitely going to be vlogging about the agnostic gods, the old gods of the Philippines, and why they are no longer a thing, and do they exist, and just like the demons and the animals and the wild things that fly around our houses at night around here, There's some superstitions holding on, but there's some ancient ways that are being forgotten very quickly here. And I'm all about it, because my name and my culture and my history and my passion for it, obviously, I would be really honored to enlighten the youth of the Philippines about their own culture. I think it's great.
Yeah, intertwined. Jay,
you guys
want to
hear me
do
now?
a quick sound check? Yeah, can you hear him, Dagan?
Sound check.
Negative.
Still can't hear him.
Anyway, that's fine.
Okay.
But you can hear me though, right?
Yeah, I can hear it. But let's wrap it up a little bit here. So, what can we look forward to? You mentioned a couple of the videos to look forward to again, Dagan. You might want to plug that. Then, is there anything else on the BGC that's coming out? Because we wanted to invite you back on like next week or after all the videos came out, but this was just too exciting and too emotional not to invite you on tonight. So thanks for jumping on at the last minute. But yeah, what else can we look forward to on your channel?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Of course, it's always a blessing to be on here with you guys. There is 3 episodes left in Manila. There is most definitely an episode about BGC, because until I released my first Manila episode and I spoke about BGC and Uptown and things like that, I didn't realize, and I actually learned this from TikTok. Believe it or not, everyone hates on TikTok, but I learned from over 3,000 comments on one of my TikToks how controversial, white and black controversial BGC is. and the representation of it and the ownership of it and the governing of it and the comparative governing of it to the rest of Manila's areas around behind it and Taguig's areas just outside the walls, and how one side of the wall is treated versus the other side of the wall. I
Literally
have
two
been
sides of the
enlightened.
Philippines.
And so I very much changed my approach with how I'm going to be vlogging this week's episode on BGC. So it's definitely coming out. And then a walk through downtown and Old Town and the fort and the Spanish area. And then to Tondo, a nice afternoon in Tondo. And then we get on the to-go ferry and we take the to-go ferry cruise back to Bohol. And that will be the last of the 7-part series of Manila. And after that comes the big show, the big changeover, the big update.
Wow, a couple more weeks.
Going back to the Taguig, Makati kind of division, it's, the Montagues and the Capulets. It's like a romance between the two different families. But yeah, so a lot of things to look forward to for big changes in since you mentioned it already, though, you have big changes on your channel to look forward to. I hope you don't mind. I also made like a solo reaction video to your vlog a while ago. It was really more about, I tried to make it really more about the logistics and
Trying to
reacting to your editing. Yeah, and less about the context. But I hope you don't mind if I mentioned on the reaction video that you, and I'm disclosing it here already, right? That you're not releasing it in order. Is that okay to mention that?
Yeah, so they are actually going in order of our experience in Manila. Sequentially, every one of these videos is coming out in order. So we went to you and I and our ladies went to the cemetery, and then we went to downtown BGC. So that is the next episode.
Oh, okay. So you don't have a separate vlog for the gondola, for the one at the mall. You just did a short for that, but not
no. So the
vlog.
gondola part at the mall is the first part of our BGC episode coming out next. Yeah,
okay,
so
okay.
we'll do.
So
we're doing the the Venetian Mall or whatever, the Venice Mall.
Yeah.
Is like the opening few minutes of the BGC episode.
Oh, got it. And then you skipped over so you just dedicated the cemetery in the middle, skipped over that, and dedicated that as a separate vlog.
Yeah, the memorial needed its own episode, and so after that comes Venice Mall and BGC and what I've learned about it since we've been there.
Got it. Looking forward to seeing those come out, man. It's interesting to see you working on it, and to see how it comes out is what I was trying to talk about on the reaction videos. Interesting to see.
I'll be honest,
and see how it comes out.
I'm really glad this time that I'm actually doing it a little bit late in life. Like most vloggers vlog 2 to 3 weeks later after something happens, and mine are obviously several weeks more than that back. But I'm so glad that I'm doing it in this manner this time, because it allows everybody involved to have their time to figure it all out, and it allows me to learn before I open my mouth about something that I don't know too much about. So having Facebook and TikTok and the rest of these platforms to throw those little snips out there and then see the 10,000 comments of what I should be saying or what I said wrong just from a reel allows me to definitely take the time to edit appropriately with these new long form episodes. So I'm learning here with these.
Yeah,
but after the update episode in 4 episodes, everything will be within a 2-week up-to-date live platform.
Okay. So it's a little bit late now, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in advance, but now you'll be more caught up 1 or 2 weeks caught up after the Manila
and then some things
series.
I will do my best to actually experience, come home, edit, and post within 48 hours so that it's kind of on speed with things. But that's a challenge for most content creators. I'm sure they can all agree.
Right.
So what about us, Jason? When are we going to start vlogging? We'll put on our first episode.
Well, I mean, it's up to you, really. I mean, in your part, you're taking forever with your part, man.
I'm waiting for you to start. Can you hear Jason already? No.
Nope.
What's that?
Not yet.
No, he can't
Not
hear
yet.
me. He can't hear me.
He still can't.
Well, we
hear
got to
you.
close things out here. We're way
You're
past
already
the limit.
vlogging on your Facebook.
Yeah.
That's
That's a private thing.
So again, let's wrap it up. Dagan, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to checking out those vlogs that are coming out and those changes right behind you, brother.
Thank
3 years behind you, but we'll get there. We'll catch
Well,
up.
we're looking forward to the
It
next
takes time.
couple of weeks.
That's
We're
for
looking
sure.
forward to the new
So
stuff.
thank you so much for having me on, you guys.
Looking
right.
forward to the good stuff coming up. All right.
Jay, I can't hear your beautiful voice, but I love you, baby. I'll talk to you
I'll
soon.
talk to you later. I'll talk to you later.
All right, man. We'll take you
Hold
out
on.
of the stage first.
Oh,
Thanks,
there he
David.
is. He's back.
I'm back. Now I'm back. Jesus
Oh, now you
Christ.
can
All
hear
right.
him.
Okay. Well,
What button did we press?
I don't know. I probably clicked on something. But anyway, thank you very much, Dagan, again for joining us. Look forward to having you next week, hopefully. And I can't wait for the new episodes, man.
Thank you. Yes, they are in the works. Getting through Fiesta this last couple days here in town, and now that I'm healed up from Fiesta, I'm back to work. So
All right, we're gonna go take you off studio real quick.
all right, thanks guys.
Cheers.
Man. Every time this guy comes on, I have some kind of electronic issues. Every time.
But you were
It's
fine
like-
at first, though, right? You
Yeah,
were
it was
fine
fine
at first. I could hear you at first. Yeah.
So the problem was I dropped this on my keyboard and it did something. I crushed up bottle. I dropped it on my keyboard and it did something.
Don't you gotta
Dude,
go to work?
I don't know what happened. I gotta get to
I don't-
work. Anyway,
I
guys,
don't wanna
thank
keep you,
you
man.
for joining us. Thank you to Dagan for joining us, and to Christine again for helping out with all the artwork and whatnot in regards to our page. I appreciate it.
Thumbnail. Yeah.
Our thumbnails. Anything else you want to add on?
So that's it. So the BGC vlog of Dagan came out. Again, Millennial Legends. Check out his channel. That's where he does his vlog. And there's
We're
still
gonna
a
put
couple
his
of,
links down here.
a few more Manila episodes, and then they go back to. I'm just looking for. It's just such an honor to be able to see it happen behind the scenes. Get to sort of shadow the guy and see it coming out on YouTube like that. So it's pretty exciting. I can't wait to get my vlog started. Maybe next year.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. Next episode is going to be on this Sunday. As always, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Philippines. Join us then. Click us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, yada, yada, yada. Please like and subscribe. As always, we really appreciate it. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, guys. Again, this is The Flip Side with Jay Noel. My name is Jay.
And name's Noel.
Catch you guys later.
On the flip side.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Catch us on the next episode, Sunday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Philippines. This is The Flip Side with Jay and Noel.